Imagine being able to change your life significantly within just 1 week. It sounds improbable, doesn't it? But what if I told you there are 5 powerful habits, simple yet transformative, that can set your days on a new course? These are habits rooted in ancient wisdom and tailored to fit our modern lives, a seamless blend of action and philosophy, a bit like the principles of Stoicism brought to life. They are habits that can unlock clarity, ignite purpose, and bring a calm strength to your everyday routine. This isn't about magic pills or quick fixes. It's about real, honest practices that will challenge you to rethink your day-to-day life. Each of these habits, though seemingly small, can open doors to personal growth and resilience. Are you ready to explore them with me? By the end of this journey, you'll have encountered simple yet profound techniques that could reshape your life just as they did for Liam, our protagonist in today's story. Liam, like many of us, sought something more from his life, something grounded in mindfulness and inner discipline. What he discovered were 5 habits, one for each day of the work week, that would eventually transform his sense of purpose and calm his restless mind. So, settle in and join us in unraveling each step he took. And who knows, you may find that these habits have the power to reshape your own path. Let's start with the very first habit, waking up early, a seemingly straightforward change with profound depth. 1. Waking up early, embracing the stillness of dawn. Liam had always been a night owl, waking up just in time to rush through his mornings. Sound familiar? For Liam, mornings felt like an endless race against time, one that left him drained before he even got started. But one day he stumbled upon an old Stoic adage: "When the sun rises, the day awaits. Greet it with a readiness to work, to grow, to observe." Curious about this idea, he decided to try waking up before dawn. The first day was rough, to say the least. Liam set his alarm for 5 a.m., and when it rang, he wondered if he'd lost his mind. His warm bed seemed like the safer choice, but he remembered his commitment, the curiosity that drove him, and somehow managed to get up. In the quiet darkness, he was met with a sense of peace he hadn't experienced in years. The world was still, offering a calm canvas for his thoughts, a quietude that felt almost sacred. As he stepped outside to breathe in the cool morning air, he noticed how different it felt to move without the rush. There was a profound tranquility in these early hours that seemed to whisper, "This time is yours." Inspired, he decided to take a few minutes to stretch and set his intentions for the day. He found that the moments of stillness and gentle movement brought him a surprising clarity. His mind felt calm, and for the first time he understood what it meant to start the day on the right foot. After a few days, something incredible began to happen. Liam found that the early hours weren't just peaceful, they were deeply productive. Without the distractions of a bustling world, he had time for a quiet meditation, a healthy breakfast, and even some journaling, which he'd never had time for before. He noticed that his thoughts were more focused, and he began the day with a clear plan, a stark contrast to his previous mornings of chaos. One morning, Liam decided to take his coffee to the balcony and was greeted by a spectacular sunrise. The sky turned from deep blue to vibrant shades of pink and orange, and as he watched, he felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for that moment. It was a simple sunrise, but in that instant he felt grounded, as though he had tapped into something greater than himself. This was the beauty of waking up early, the gift of presence, of quiet, of intention. Have you ever experienced a moment of stillness that brought you unexpected peace? Waking up early might sound like a small shift, but its impact can be extraordinary. Why not give it a try for a week? Start with just 15 minutes earlier than usual, and let that quiet time be a space for you. Each sunrise is a new beginning, an invitation to greet the day with purpose and clarity. This simple practice reminded Liam that a calm, intentional start is worth the discipline it requires. Next, he found a way to extend that sense of peace through another practice: daily exercise. 2. Daily exercise, moving with purpose. After embracing the calm of early mornings, Liam decided it was time to focus on his body. Exercise had never been a priority for him. Like many, he'd made countless resolutions to start working out, only to abandon them after a few days. But this time, Liam approached it differently. Instead of pushing himself with a grueling regimen, he committed to just 20 minutes each morning, small, attainable, yet intentional. The first morning, he rolled out a mat in his living room and began with a few gentle stretches. He focused on his breathing, drawing in slow, deep breaths as he moved. Each movement was deliberate, a practice in presence. In these early hours, there was no rush to finish the workout. Instead, he moved as if each stretch, each breath, was a part of a larger ritual. This was not about achieving a physical milestone, but about honoring his body and cultivating resilience. Liam chose a variety of exercises throughout the week. Some days he did yoga, focusing on flexibility and breathing. Other days, he went for a brisk jog around his neighborhood, feeling the rhythm of his steps against the quiet of the morning streets. On another day, he incorporated light strength training, gradually building his endurance. The movements were modest, but his commitment to them was unwavering. As the days passed, Liam noticed an unexpected change. His mind felt sharper, more alert. He found that the physical exertion cleared away mental fog, leaving him with a calm energy that lingered through the day. One morning, as he completed his jog, he stopped to catch his breath and looked around. The air was crisp, the trees lined with dew, and a soft breeze rustled the leaves. It was in that moment he realized he was reconnecting, not just with his body, but with the world around him. The simple act of moving, of feeling the ground beneath his feet, became a form of grounding. Have you ever noticed how movement can clear the mind and shift your perspective? When we move, when we breathe deeply, we allow ourselves to reconnect to nature, to our bodies, to our minds. This, in a way, is the essence of Stoicism, engaging in practices that build resilience and presence, whether on the path of physical endurance or in the trials of life. Liam also found that exercise became a powerful tool for managing stress. Instead of carrying the weight of daily worries, he used his workout to release them. Each stretch and each step on the pavement became a small victory over the tensions of the day. The soreness he felt in his muscles became a reminder of his commitment to growth, a sign that he was challenging himself with purpose. By the end of the week, exercise had transformed from a chore into a cherished ritual. It was no longer about simply working out. It had become a way of aligning his mind and body, a space to cultivate resilience. And with each session, Liam found himself better prepared for whatever the day would bring. With his mind and body now moving in harmony, Liam turned to a third habit, one that would allow him to delve deeper into his inner world: journaling. 3. Journaling, a dialogue with the self. Liam had never considered himself a journaler. Writing down his thoughts seemed frankly unnecessary. But something about the idea of capturing his inner experiences intrigued him, especially after discovering how the practice aligned with the philosophy of Stoicism. The ancient Stoics, after all, frequently engaged in reflective writing as a way to understand themselves and refine their character. Perhaps, he thought, there was something here worth exploring. The first night, he sat down with a blank notebook, unsure of what to write. He started with a simple entry: how his day had gone, a small success he'd achieved, and one challenge he had faced. At first, it felt trivial, but as he continued, his thoughts began to flow, and the words on the page took shape. Writing gave him a sense of release, a way to articulate thoughts he hadn't realized he was holding on to. Each night before bed, he repeated this ritual. He'd write about his goals, the things that brought him joy, and those that stirred frustration. With each entry, he found himself delving deeper, observing his reactions, uncovering patterns in his thoughts and emotions. There was something powerful about seeing his own words on paper. It was as if he was having a conversation with himself. One night, after a particularly challenging day at work, Liam felt tense and overwhelmed. Instead of bottling it up, he turned to his journal, pouring out his frustrations and analyzing why the day had left him feeling this way. He noticed that much of his stress stemmed from events he couldn't control, things outside his influence. The simple act of recognizing this brought a surprising sense of clarity. He began to understand the wisdom of Stoicism. Liam also added a section of gratitude to each entry. Every night he would list 3 things he was thankful for. This small practice shifted his perspective, guiding him to focus on what was positive in his life rather than dwelling on what was lacking. Reflecting on these moments of gratitude brought him a gentle peace, a sense of fulfillment that lingered even after he put down the pen. Reflecting on his thoughts and feelings each day was like shining a light into his inner world. He could see the strengths he wanted to cultivate, the fears he needed to confront, and the small triumphs that gave him joy. Through journaling, Liam was developing a better understanding of himself, and in that understanding, he found a quiet confidence and calm. Is there a part of you that remains unexplored, waiting to be understood? Perhaps taking a few minutes to jot down your thoughts could open doors to self-awareness you hadn't considered, just as Stoicism. With a deeper understanding of his thoughts, Liam moved on to the next habit, mindful eating. 4. Mindful eating, savoring each bite. With the clarity and insight from journaling, Liam's attention turned to another overlooked part of his life, his relationship with food. Like many, Liam often ate on autopilot. Meals were something to get through quickly, often accompanied by his phone, a work task, or even the TV in the background. He had never considered that the act of eating could be more than just fueling his body. It could be a practice in awareness, a small meditation. Intrigued, he decided to try mindful eating, a concept that would soon change the way he approached his meals, and much more. The first evening, Liam sat down at his kitchen table with a simple dinner in front of him. He cleared the space around him, putting away his phone and shutting off the TV. There was an unfamiliar silence in the air, a quiet that felt almost sacred. He took a few deep breaths, grounding himself in the moment, and then picked up his fork. Instead of diving in, he observed the meal, the colors, the textures, the aroma that wafted up from the plate. As he took his first bite, he focused on the flavors, the way the food felt as he chewed, and the sensation of swallowing. Each bite was a new experience, a chance to truly savor what he was eating. He realized in that simple moment how much he had been missing. Foods he'd eaten countless times seemed richer, layered with subtle flavors he had never fully noticed. It was like discovering food anew, as if he'd been tasting on the surface all this time, but never truly experiencing it. One evening, he prepared a simple bowl of vegetable soup. Normally, he would have devoured it in a few hurried gulps while scrolling through his phone, but tonight was different. As he took his time with each spoonful, he noticed how the warmth of the soup spread through him, bringing comfort and nourishment. In those quiet moments, he felt a deep gratitude, not just for the food itself, but for the farmers, the earth, the sun, and the rain that had made it possible. The act of eating had transformed into something more profound, a moment of connection with nature. Have you ever truly tasted your food, noticing each flavor, each texture, and appreciating it fully? This is what Stoicism teaches us: to be present, to approach even the simplest actions with awareness and appreciation. Through mindful eating, Liam learned that food was not just sustenance, but an experience, a moment to pause and reconnect with his body and the present moment. Another unexpected benefit of mindful eating was that it naturally led him to make healthier choices. By eating slowly and savoring each bite, he became more attuned to his body's hunger and fullness cues. Instead of overeating, he found himself satisfied with less, feeling lighter and more energized after each meal. He even discovered that certain foods left him feeling sluggish, while others brought a sense of vitality. With this newfound awareness, he naturally gravitated towards fresher, whole foods that supported his energy and well-being. One evening, after a long day, he found himself craving a snack. In the past, he would have automatically reached for a bag of chips. But this time, he paused and asked himself if he was truly hungry, or if it was simply a habit or emotional craving. As he reflected, he realized that he wasn't hungry at all. He was just looking for a way to unwind. Instead of eating, he chose to take a walk in the fresh air, which gave him the relaxation he needed without the mindless snacking. Through mindful eating, Liam discovered a greater respect for his body and a sense of balance that he hadn't known before. Eating was no longer just about the food itself, but about honoring his body, his mind, and the world around him. This practice grounded him, connecting him with a slower, more intentional way of living. With a newfound awareness of his physical and mental needs, Liam felt ready to tackle the final habit: limiting screen time. 5. Limiting screen time, rediscovering life beyond the screen. After transforming his mornings, his body, and even his meals, Liam began to notice how much of his life revolved around screens. From work emails to social media and late-night scrolling, he spent countless hours each day staring at his phone, computer, or TV. The overstimulation left him feeling drained, unfocused, and, oddly enough, disconnected from himself and the world around him. Inspired to make a change, he decided to limit his screen time, a step that would lead him on an unexpected journey of rediscovery. The first boundary Liam set was simple: 1 hour of non-essential screen time per day. At first it seemed manageable, but as the days went on, he realized just how often he reached for his phone out of habit. Each time he was tempted to scroll mindlessly, he paused and reminded himself of his commitment. Instead of falling into the digital rabbit hole, he looked for other ways to fill his time: reading, drawing, or even stepping outside for a walk. The effects of this habit were immediate and profound. For the first time in ages, he found himself rediscovering hobbies he had forgotten about. He picked up an old book that had been gathering dust on his shelf, sketching scenes from his imagination, and even trying his hand at cooking a new recipe. These moments brought a renewed sense of joy and fulfillment, a reminder of the pleasures that existed beyond the screen. One evening after dinner, Liam took a walk in the nearby park instead of watching TV. The air was cool, and the sound of leaves crunching under his feet was oddly soothing. As he walked, he noticed the sunset casting a warm glow over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. There was a calmness, a sense of connection to the world around him that he hadn't felt in a long time. It was a simple, beautiful experience, one he would have missed if he had been glued to a screen. Have you ever felt the relief of stepping away from your devices, even if only for a short while? In a world filled with constant digital noise, sometimes the most refreshing thing we can do is disconnect. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and to avoid distractions that pull us away from our purpose. By limiting screen time, Liam was reclaiming his time and attention, choosing to invest it in experiences that brought true fulfillment. The most surprising effect of limiting screen time was the improvement in his sleep. In the past, Liam would often scroll through social media or watch videos until he felt drowsy. But with his new habit, he established a nighttime routine free from screens. He began reading physical books before bed, sometimes journaling or reflecting on the day. As a result, his sleep became deeper, and he woke up feeling refreshed, ready to start his day with clarity. Liam also noticed that stepping away from screens had a positive impact on his mental health. Without the constant barrage of news updates, social media comparisons, and notifications, he felt less anxious and more present in his daily interactions. Conversations with friends and family became more meaningful as he was fully engaged without the pull of a device. Limiting screen time wasn't about completely eliminating technology, but about using it intentionally. It was about creating a healthy balance, one that allowed him to experience the world with clarity and purpose. With each day, Liam felt more connected to himself, to others, and to the beauty of the world around him. By the end of his one-week experiment, Liam had experienced a transformation he hadn't anticipated. Through these 5 simple yet profound habits, he had reconnected with himself, found purpose in his routine, and cultivated a deeper sense of peace. Each habit, waking up early, daily exercise, journaling, mindful eating, and limiting screen time, offered a new layer of insight and fulfillment. And now, the question turns to you. Are you ready to take on these 5 habits for a week? Each one is an invitation to live with intention, presence, and resilience, qualities deeply valued in Stoicism. If this journey has inspired you, share your thoughts in the comments below. Which habit resonates with you the most? Are there other habits you've tried that have made a difference in your life? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more content like this. And of course, share this video with anyone you think might benefit from these insights. Thank you for watching. And remember, small changes made with intention can lead to a life filled with clarity, purpose, and peace. Stay curious, stay inspired, and may each day be a step closer to the person you wish to become.